So here we are back in 2020, actually a place I never wanted to revisit ever again, if I'm being honest. But here we are. Good to have you, man. It's been a couple years. Just like clockwork, Buckcherry, it seems like you guys are on such a tight album release schedule. It's every 2 years, like almost to the day, it seems like.
Yeah, we got a rhythm for sure, but it's all good. It's Roar Like Thunder drops tomorrow, Friday the 13th, and we're really proud of it. Our 11th record. It's a barn burner.
It is absolutely. And by the time this airs, it will be out today on the Friday the 13th. So that is amazing. And it's just great to
Awesome.
see. How do you, I mean, a lot of bands, veteran bands don't want to put the time and don't want to release new music, but you're always working. You're always working on music. Could you even function if you weren't trying to to make new music every couple years?
You know, I like to work, I don't know. It's just when I found music and found out this is what I wanted to do with my life, I wanted to I'm just really passionate about it. I really enjoy making records to this day. It's fun to create something from nothing and to challenge yourself and to find great songs. It's not easy. And, when you work your whole life crafting songs, I don't know why people stop because maybe they're lazy or they're uninspired or they don't get along with their bandmates. It's usually it.
It's one of those things for sure. I gotta say, one of my favorite songs on this album is kind of the probably the slower, more mid-tempo song on here, which is "Hello Goodbye." I think that's just a really good song. I think it's something that is very relatable. Just kind of that idea of having to say goodbye to someone that you're close to, whether it be a relationship, someone that you were close to at one point. I mean, "Hello Goodbye." I gotta say that's just a fantastic song. Could talk about that one.
Thanks. Yeah, that's all Marty Fredrickson. That was one of the songs that he came in with where he was pretty much done with it. He'd written the music and the melodies, and he just had like the "Hello Goodbye" hook, and we just loved it. It sounds like the Beatles, We wrote. I just wrote words around his melodies, and that song happened very quickly. It's a lot of fun, and like you're saying, there's a point in a relationship where you guys you're both growing apart
Mm.
and it's time to call it, but it's bittersweet, and that can be with a friendship, relationship, just like you're saying, and um that's why I like the song, because I've had those moments in my lifetime for sure, and it's kind of sad in a way, and I like sad songs.
It's it is, and I kind of do too. As I get older, I don't know what it is about it. I like being kind of put in a certain mood. It's funny because it's also the longest song on the album at 4 minutes and a blistering 4 minutes and 5 seconds. But that is what I think I love, and I've realized this that I'm becoming this way. When I go to Netflix, Josh, I'm looking at 90-minute thrillers, and I'm looking at AC/DC 3 and 4 minute songs that just get in there, kick my ass, and get out. Is that kind of your
Yeah.
method as well?
Yeah, that's my foundation. I grew up in Orange County, California, surfing and skateboarding. All my first rock records were independent punk rock records. And, those songs are not even 3 minutes. A lot of them are 2 minutes,
Mhm.
and um, I don't like a lot of nonsense. I feel like a 3 minute and 30-second song, a 3 minute song, if you can keep somebody engaged the whole time, you've written a really great song, and that's just the way kind of our formula and what it's always kind of happened for us around that time limit.
Absolutely. And just talking about just getting older and the Buckcherry, the entity being around since 1999. But I talked to a lot of artists that say, at this point in their careers, you've been working with Stevie D now for 20 years. But the
Yeah,
fact that you and you're touring and doing as much touring as you guys do, how important it is to have guys in your band that you get along and you can chill and vibe with, and how important that is. I'm assuming that goes for you as well.
yeah, it's really important because you instantly have to live with people. That's what the road is. You're in tight quarters and you got to live with people. And we live with the crew guys too. So yeah, you got to have a lot of love and tolerance, and you got to be able to talk through your stuff and good communication and just be nice people. And we really have a great chemistry in this band right now. I mean, a lot of long guys, like Stevie's the longest running guitar player in this band. He's been in this band since 2004. And,
Yep.
Kelly, our bass player, has been in the band over 10 years, and Francis is over 6 years or over 5 years, and Billy's already been in the band 4 years, so it's all working really good. We're having a good time.
Well, you guys have been doing a ton of touring. I mean, you guys, it's like kind of Buckcherry's become one of those like anywhere, anytime, any place bands. I mean, you guys went to Canada and toured with Steel Panther. You've done tours.
Yeah.
We just did a bunch of shows with Hinder. You're in the middle of a bunch more shows the whole rest of the summer, and it could be an amphitheater, it could be a casino, it could be a club, it could be anywhere. It's like Buckcherry is just one of those bands. I mean, you guys really are anywhere, any place, anytime.
Yeah, I mean that's the way it used to be. You'd put out a record and go tour on it. I mean that's it's nothing. It's kind of come full circle because there is no more rock radio. I mean it's really kind of obsolete, and like it's like it's all streaming, and it's just different way to get information, and the live show is still where it happens.
And a song on here, another standout I got to bring up from the new album, which is tremendous. And as this airs, it is out. So definitely go get it. Go to buckcherry.com. It's called Roar Like Thunder. This song, it seems like every album or every few albums that you find a way to almost to me it seems like you almost have like a satirical view of your own sobriety. You have a way of kind of going back and not necessarily poking fun at it, but like having fun with it. And Blackout, I think, is a song that really does that on this. Is that kind of what you're going for? You're kind of implementing sort of this fun version of this blackout and the crazy things that happen, but also understanding the idea that for 30 years it's been so important to you to be sober.
Yeah, I had a very chaotic childhood, and it's also, there's some really funny moments and a celebration. When I first started drinking and using, it was a lot of fun for me before it got really dark, and um, I'm a skinny guy by nature, and I was a blackout drinker. I could not hold my alcohol, and it was kind of a running joke how we would start partying and getting ready to hit a Friday night, party. Like at that point, it was like all house parties in Orange County. We were too young to get into clubs, so we went to house parties, and they'd have kegs, and like, and you just party until the cops broke it up, and then you go to another one. But I would start drinking with my friends, and then I'd pass out before everybody would go out, and they would come home, and I would come to at like 3 in the morning, and people would start rolling in, and I'd be like, "Let's go," and they'd be like, "Dude, it's over." It's over. We already went out. But it was a lot of those type of stories, and it was funny until it got not fun anymore. But Blackout is about those moments, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that you could still go in there because some artists aren't able to do that. They can't kind of keep the two things separate, and it's maybe too serious, or you know what I mean? And I think that's really cool that I mean, you've done that since the beginning, even probably since Lit Up was
Yeah,
almost like
yeah.
that. So it's
Yeah,
great.
lit up is about the first time I did cocaine, and I wrote that sober, and no, I have fond memories of getting loaded. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it saved me honestly for a while there, and then it just, like I said, it became a big glaring problem, when I started becoming an adult, and that's when I had to address it, but it all works out, and that's my life, and the way I reflect. And not every song is about that. I write songs about all kinds of things, but it's definitely a subject I like to tap into on certain songs that kind of put me in that spot where that's the way it makes me feel.
I know you have a lot of really cool interests, and for someone like Alice Cooper, he replaced sobriety with golf. I hear that you kind of replaced it with tennis, which is interesting because
Yeah.
I play not competitively. I'll tell you why, Josh, because it's impossible to find someone to play competitively with. If you can find someone just to volley it back and forth, that's a victory for me. Like I don't have anyone that I could just go and like return a serve with. I mean, that's like impossible. So how do you got
Right.
people in your life you could just call up and like, hey, let's have like a knockdown drag out game?
Oh, I got a lot of guys I play with, and I
I'm
take my
in.
rackets on. I take my rackets on the road. So on my days off, I play. I'll randomly cold call tennis centers, and either do a I'll do a paid hit with a pro. I'll do a ball machine, or I'll say, hey, are you? I'm a 4-0 player at the moment. That's my ranking, and so I'll be like, is there any 4-0 guys that want to play a match. I want to play a match. I'm in town, and I'll hustle tennis matches. And then once you play somebody and you guys have a good time, then you become buddies right away. And you give each other. I give my number out, and then like every time I'm in town, so I got a gang of guys I play all over touring, and then at home I live in California, and
Mhm.
it's we play tennis year round here. There's a lot of tennis players, and it's very competitive. And I play in UTR and USTA, and I go out and join tournaments and play tournaments, and it's a lot of fun, man. I don't know where you live. Where
Kansas
do you
City,
live?
Kansas City, Missouri, right in the middle. So we have about
Oh,
6 months a year where you can't go outside, let alone play
well, I'm
tennis.
sure there's aren't there any indoor facilities? I find a lot of indoor
Yeah.
facilities all around, So
Yeah, that's awesome. It's such a great, like, it is to me like such a great sport. It's so competitive. It's one of those that like you can
yeah,
look at sports and say like, oh yeah, I could do that. You could, you grew up. I know you grew up playing sports, as did I, playing baseball and football. But like tennis is the
yeah,
one. Golf's kind of like this, where you're just like that is another level. Like those players, those pros, like unfathomable. So you're kind of getting up there. Then you
yeah,
might have to join the tour,
yeah.
on
I
Wimbledon
put a
here.
lot into yeah, I put a lot into it. I've been playing tennis now for over 4 years, and I put in a lot of work because I love to compete, and so I did a lot of YouTubing and then practicing and YouTubing and practicing and then being in a match is a completely different thing than practicing, and then I started playing matches and I'm like, damn, I got to really work on my tennis IQ and my transition game. And, my serve needs improvement and all these little things that you start really homing in on and making better. And then all of a sudden you get to new levels in ranking and you start playing guys where I just love playing tennis because I forget about everything in my life. I don't think about my personal life when I'm on court or music. And it's really therapeutic for me. And the only thing I can think about is the game, not to mention it's really great for your health.
Oh, absolutely amazing. I love that. I love to hear that. It's crazy to me to think that so many bands of your ilk you have been around as long as you have, because I remember vividly going to the Kiss reunion tour in '96 and people making fun of me like those old bands, those old dinosaurs. I think Paul Stanley was 45 on that tour. It's hilarious.
Right,
And now
right.
to think of like you, maybe like Sully Erna from Godsmack, like Fred Durst, guys that
Yeah.
from like Scott Stapp that came from like the late '90s. There's nobody ever talks about a band's age anymore ever. It doesn't exist,
Right.
and it shouldn't. For
Right.
one, all of you guys that I just mentioned are all in phenomenal shape. You look just like you did in 2001, which helps a lot. But why do you think that is? Why do you think that rock has become so ageless? Where at one point it was all anyone ever talked about is how old a band was.
I mean, listen, showbiz keeps you young. I'm 54, and I can definitely feel the difference, that nobody sees on stage, but yeah, you just if as long as you're consistent and you keep doing it through the years, you remain very young compared to like other 50-year-old, 54-year-old people, walking the earth, So I'm grateful for that. That's another great perk of being a singer and, being on stage a lot. You got to be very physically fit, So and that's only a good thing.
Well, I got to say, I assume I haven't seen you guys live yet on this cycle, but you've rolled out some of the new songs. Are there some that when you're playing live that's like they're really hitting? Like obviously, I assume maybe you guys have played some of the singles like "Set It Free."
Yep.
How are some of the live audiences reacting to the new songs?
Yeah, well, like the record is not fully on the street yet, so we
Right.
don't play songs that people don't know. So we have been playing Roar Like Thunder, Come On and Set It Free, and it's just such a great moment. And instantly people are engaged, and you can tell the people who have heard the song before,
Sure.
they're what I love about Buckcherry and what we try to do is make songs easy to pick up, even if you haven't heard them.
100%. That's why I love rock and roll. I think it's very simple
Yeah,
concept to me. That's why I'm a rock guy, like from the way back. And
yeah,
speaking
me
of bands
too.
like that, I know AC/DC was heavily influential for you and for every rock band at some point in some form or
Yeah,
fashion. Just
yeah,
I just want your thoughts on what they were able to do well into their 70s playing. They just got done with a huge stadium run in America.
right.
How incredible that is, and to keep that music alive, how important that is.
It's it's really inspiring. I'm a huge AC/DC fan. You can tell by every record that we put out. We
Mhm.
always have four on the floor AC/DC type song, and we got to live out our rock and roll fantasy on our second record and we played four shows with them, ending at Madison Square Garden, and that was like a dream come true. I got to meet all of them, and they were humble and sweet and lovely people, and to answer your question, like seeing guys, not just ACDC, but the older guys, do it at that age, it's like, wow, I didn't even think that it was possible, and to see them, it's like, okay, I could see it happening, like where I couldn't see that, you know, maybe a few years back. But yeah, I had a transition after like 40. I hit a place with my voice where I had to really kind of reapproach singing, to
Mhm.
make it easier for me and to sing songs that I had written in my 20s, you know what I mean? So you have to like really work on yourself, as a singer, and so those are the guys I really are paying attention to, the ones that are getting older and carrying their voice through all that. Like Brian Johnson has a hell of a job every night.
Absolutely. It's a very simple question here, but I guess my to sum it up, I would say, do you enjoy touring? Like you're one of the best front men. You always put on great shows. You've just been lean and mean and a monster up there for gosh for almost 30 years now. Like, do you like getting in a van and going and playing shows all over the country? You guys have like 40 more dates left this summer.
It's very challenging. I would never tour in a van. That happened in our very early days, and we did our time in that, and ever since we got to a bus, we never looked back. I would never go back to a van or anything, but the bus is great because it's super comfortable and you can sleep and you can get in a rhythm and a routine. But there's a lot of challenging things about the road, especially as long as we've been doing it, and the schedule that we put on. I've seen it take people's souls, and that's crew guys and band guys, and so you have to have a strong constitution. You got to really work on yourself and do things that help you cope. And for me, I can only speak for myself. I have a regimen every day that I do that really helps me with my mind, and but ultimately when you get on stage, it makes up for all the travel and all the stuff prior to getting on stage.
It's crazy because I'm pretty sure the last time I saw you guys, it was at Rocklahoma a few years ago, and you were on stage. And I don't even know that you got to play one song. Like it was over. Like there was a horrible weather, and it was done. There was like a 3 hour weather delay, and it was just over. So my last Buckcherry experience was
That
30
sucks.
seconds long. I don't. That was like, okay, well, they couldn't fit you back in because it was this festival, and they had to keep it rolling. So I was like, well, thanks, Buckcherry. I was like, God, that's insane.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
you
I
guys
don't remember that. I think the last time we did Rocklahoma, I mean, I don't remember that happening, but I mean that has happened over the years. It's inevitable,
sure
when you're doing outdoor shows, sometimes you have to, usually it's lightning.
it
Lightning is
was.
the only thing that shuts it down.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I think it was 21 or right after, like maybe the first Rocklahoma back from touring coming
Oh,
back.
okay. Yeah, yeah. That's a long time ago. But
Well, yes,
yeah,
I
if there
know.
if there's lightning within like a 10-mile radius, you can't be on stage.
Of
There's
course.
like, yeah.
It was just wild because like I need to make up for that experience now and
You got to.
a lot of dates. Before I let you go, Josh, it's been so great to have you back on, man. Absolutely love it every time. I got to hit you with our final four drum roll. It's four quick questions. It'll be
Okay.
fun. You give us whatever comes to mind. All right, so you
Okay.
could play a one-on-one tennis match with any pro, male or female that ever. Like who would you want to play against?
The King, Carlos Alcaraz.
Wow. I like that. I like that. What was the first concert that you ever attended that you remember growing up?
The first concert was the Ramones, Fender's Ballroom, Long Beach, California.
Damn.
All ages.
Yeah. That was back in the all ages days when you needed the all ages to get in,
Yeah.
probably, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what's the last concert you just went to as a fan just to go?
Billie Eilish with my daughter and my wife.
That is
It was amazing.
awesome. That is
Amazing.
so cool. Okay, last one. You can sing one set with one band, living or dead, doesn't matter. You're just replacing their singer for one night. Who are you playing the set with?
James Brown.
Oh my God. What a freaking great answer. That's a tough
Yeah.
one to replace. He's James Brown. You got to be James Brown. You can't just like blend
He's
in.
James Brown, and I got to meet him before he died. It was the best
That's
moment of my
freaking
life.
awesome. Uh,
Yeah.
Josh, you're the best, man. Roar Like Thunder. It is out now at the time this interview airs. It is out on Friday the 13th. Josh, you're the best. We'll see you out there on the touring stratosphere, somewhere out there in this great country of ours. And can't wait to do it, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, big dog. Appreciate it. Good seeing you.
Always. You betcha.
All
Thank
right.
you.